Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
You know, sitting here thinking about immigration, I get frustrated with a lot of stuff in politics. And we should all be frustrated. We should. We should all be so frustrated with the things that we see in politics because it is such an absolute joke. It really is. And I continue to say it. The only way things get done moving forward in this world is when you get lucky when it comes to government. That's it. As far as big things that need to get done. It has to be luck. It can't be anything else. And I mean that in the sense that we touched on it yesterday. Think about the small window that each party will have to get things done. I mean, it's gotten to the point where Harry Reid, I got into it, some guy yesterday who listens to the show. I don't know why some people listen to the show. I couldn't tell you because they hate everything you say. And they'll still send you 75 text messages or tweets throughout the day. But Mitch McConnell, he did this. And I said, actually, Harry Reid did that. But it was different. I said, no, it was because of the court system and stuff. But think about what they had to do. Harry Reid had to say, essentially, I got to get rid of the filibuster. We've got to do this nuclear option because nothing is ever going to get done anymore. And so he went and did something like that. And, you know, they said, hey, you'll rue the day. And sure enough, the Democrats came back and they rued the day. And hence the reason why we got what we got on the court now in the Supreme Court. But it shows you how luck plays such a huge part anymore to have the stars aligned, to have the people in certain areas vote for a certain candidate, gets that candidate either in or gets a candidate out. And you have the perfect situation where everything lines up. And then you have the opportunity to do one thing. You're not getting a dozen things. You're going to do one thing. And know this, too. Know this going into a situation. That one thing is probably going to get your party ousted the next time elections come. Think about that. Obamacare, tax overhaul. You have one shot to do one. You're not doing a dozen things. Obama had the opportunity to sort out the Dreamers and DACA and do it right, and he didn't do it. Why? Because he knew what a big deal Obamacare was, or a BFD, as our good friends Joe Biden said. So just think about that for a second. So watching immigration yesterday, watching the debate that's going on, listening to everybody talk about it, and they run out and they find their microphones and they say the most insane things. Oh, he's a racist, and if you believe merit and all this guy, it's all racism. And you just sit back and you say, we're never going to get anything done on a big level unless it is that luck situation, where you luck into a time when you go, oh, my God, we got everything. We got 60 votes. We got a majority in the House. Oh, my God, now is our time. And our founding fathers didn't want to make it so it was one party that overruns on a federal level the other party to the point where we're at California, where you just got a one-party state, right? Or a Texas. But to think about the fact that we need all of that stuff to align just to get something done that a majority of people believe needs to get done because we're terrified of the base on Twitter is an absolute joke. It really is. It really, really is. And you get out there and all you need is because remember, so much of this is a fear factor of people who aren't even your constituents coming after you, and people who don't live in your area who are willing to go and campaign against you if you don't follow the party line. Think about that just for a second.
Today, the president has unveiled an immigration plan that makes no mention of DACA, a program Trump unilaterally ended in late 2017 that has been hanging by a thread thanks to court injunctions. A plan that fails to make sure people with temporary protection status and deferred enforced departure recipients don't have a path to a permanent status or citizenship.
Yeah, because the president you guys had, the Democrats, you did everything. With Obamacare, you're like, we got one bullet. Which bullet are we going to use? What is it going to be? What is it? What's it going to be? Oh, we're going to do Obamacare. All right, that's our one bullet. That's it. We can't do DACA. Can't do you dreamers. Sorry about that. It just shows you. Majority of Americans want a fix in immigration. Majority of Americans, right and left, right? A majority of Americans agree with a lot of things. But when you listen to the news and you watch television and you sit here and you hear all the kookiness of people that get the microphone. But you know why? Because they're willing to say crazy things, which drives ratings. They're willing to say stuff that's over the top, which fires up people. But the average person in the street, right or left, they want to fix it. Fix immigration. Just fix it. You guys can fix it. You have the power to fix it. I don't have the power to fix it. You do. You do. Person on the street doesn't have the power to fix it. This isn't a local government thing. They're already playing those games. You guys have the power to fix these things, and you don't do it. Well, we don't have this, and we don't have that. It's because you're too busy listening to what other people think. And it's an absolute, good God, it's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. It really is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Sad news today. So we had, this is 4, right? We had Peggy Lipton, Doris Day. Who else died? We just saw somebody else that just died. I forgot already. And now we had, one of the most famous millennials.
Between Instagram and Twitter, Grumpy Cat had over 3 million followers, people who would wait for the little brown and white felines every meme. There she was in February riding a Roomba earlier this month with a little wig on, saying, "May the 4th be awful." She's on calendars and coffee mugs and pajamas and placemats, even Bob's shoes, her little angry face, the result of a form of cat dwarfism. Now she's gone at age 7. Urinary tract infections are fairly common in cats, including grumpy ones. Her owners say the official Grumpy Cat had one of those and died of complications.
Oh, only 7. The reason Grumpy Cat looked like it had an underbite, had feline dwarfism or little peopleism, but little catism was, and some other complications that caused the cat to always look angry. Cat's real name was Tartar Sauce. And I was sitting there today thinking about how much money that cat made. Think about this for a second, right? All the kookiness aside, in the wackiness in the world that we deal in of insanity, think about this for just 1 second. As you drive to work today, they estimate that cat probably made anywhere between $30 and $100 million. Not so much for the owner, but the industry in it itself. A few years ago, I went to they have like a Comic-Con, but it's for internet stars. Grumpy Cat was there. It was in Los Angeles. Grumpy Cats wait to get a picture to see Grumpy Cat. So you have you have infinite list and all. That's like a name of a big, internet, YouTube people. You have all of these people there. And Grumpy Cat's wait was like 2 hours to get a picture with a cat that's grumpy. But the cat wasn't really grumpy. You got to get a regular job now? That's something I wondered. Do you have to get a regular job today? So you're sitting there, you go like, because you got lucky with Grumpy, because that's what this is. It's luck with Grumpy. And now you're like, do you get a regular job or you're smart with your money? Just to give you an idea that there was a Grumpachino, which is obviously a cappuccino, and I think they did the little thing with his face and this, that, and the other. They had to pay him they had to pay the people $700,000 just for that, to use that likeness alone. Think about it. Soak that up for a second while you go to your job that you hate today. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is a beautiful Friday. Something interesting as we talk about immigration, the fact that we can't get anything done. Yesterday, Trump comes out and he says, this is more for 2020. You're a racist and all these kind of things. They're voting today for, it's called an equality vote. Essentially, they're going to add on to the Civil Rights Act, and it's in the House. And this is a perfect example of things that you're doing that does not affect the average person because you're not paying attention to things that people really would like to see you get done. Not that equality is not important, but the reality is a lot of people are saying this is going to set back women's rights for a very long time. This isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It's a lot of special interest in it, and it's going to die because it's coming out of the House and going to the Senate, and it's never going to get a hearing. But that's what you've got, because the whole thing is anymore about politics. It's about having your 5 minutes to get out there and chirp about something in front of a microphone. And a lot of people are saying the reason the Democrats are doing this is because they want to be on record. Because a lot of this has trans and LGBT rights inside of it. And Democrats want Republicans on the records. But if you look at some of this stuff, it really is, it's not good for women. A lot of women's groups are not happy about this.
It's for them, but it's also for America. This is a great expansion of freedom in our country. Long overdue.
We'll see. Go ahead. Do your thing. But knowing that it's going to die, right? Like would you play a game if you knew you were going to lose and that's what you were supposed to do, right? Like, you knew you were going to lose. That's what you're supposed to do. I just don't see the need when there's so many things that need to be addressed. But we're going to go vote on this. We want to get everybody on the record on these things. It was like the things with Obamacare, those dumbass show votes the Republicans did. It was a joke. Knowing full well it would get to his desk, you didn't have a veto-proof majority, and it was going to die. But you continue to do it over and over again. What a waste. Just a giant waste. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Happy Friday. Credit card consolidation loans. You need one. Why? Because you go and you're like, hey, I'm looking at my interest rate, and wow, that is a lot of money I'm paying on. I'm still paying for a dinner I had 3 years ago. Yeah, don't do that. Don't that. Start paying off those things, and that is where Lightstream comes in. A credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream is amazing. You can get a fixed rate as low as 5.25% APR with auto pay, loans from $5,000 to $100,000, no fees, and you can even get money as early as the same day. And Lightstream is a division of SunTrust Bank, one of the most trusted financial institutions in America. That is great. Plus, my listeners, that's you guys, you can get an additional interest rate discount. The only way to do this, though, is you have to go to lightstream.com/Benson, lightstream.com/Benson. Subject to credit approval. Rate includes 0.50% auto pay discount. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/Benson for more information. Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
All the rider, we wait over here so we know the airplane when we kind of landed. We wait like 5 minutes before. We turn our apps off, all of us, at the same time. They go to search by $10, $12, sometimes $19. And then we turn our app off. Everyone will get the surge.
That is an Uber driver talking about the fact that they artificially make it so there's no Uber drivers around, therefore making it surge pricing. And the reason for that is?
100%. Everyone do it because they know. They know it's not worth it. They know if they take a ride from here without surge or without, the pump the surge up, it's not worth it.
Not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Have to do it. So what they do is they artificially, so they'll all get together. So they know that the plane's landing or whatever, and they know there's going to be several hundred people coming out. They turn all of their apps off in and around an area. So what ends up happening is not all of them, but a few of them. And then prices will artificially climb really fast because they're saying, if we don't do this and we can't get the prices up, it's not worth doing it. Well, then don't do it. It goes back to that whole thing. I've never understood people. It's like, this job's horrible. I can't make a living. Have you thought about doing anything else? No, I don't think so. Are you sure? Nah. Positive? Nah. Just so bizarre. Oh, my goodness. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from each and every one of you. I try to answer as many as you as possible. Here's the thing I'll say about that. Like I said earlier, if you hate me, and after a while, and I try not to like overly engage in people, but man, sometimes it's so interesting just the disdain that people have, and they'll just go after you, and they'll accuse you and say all of these horrible things, and then when you're like, okay, well, have a good night, because like I don't want to. At some point in time, it's like it's not even worth it, or I'll have to block you, and then they get angry. And you're just like, wow. Even when you show them something that's not real, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle it is. It's just like, I don't want to believe it. And then I hate you. Okay. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Each and every day at this time, we try to deliver to you some smiles, some giggles, some laugh, and some knowledge that you can take on the streets. It's your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
You-verse. Y-O-U verse. As a person who is so obsessed with themselves that there is no universe, there's just you-verse, because it's all about who? You. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you could throw that. Especially at the kids. You like U-verse? Yep, U-verse. U-verse, your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Democratic House Ways and Means Committee Chair Richard Neal says he's not sure if he'll hold Treasury Secretary Mnuchin in contempt for not turning over the president's tax returns.
I think that the better option for us is to proceed with a court case.
Congressman Neal will need to get in line. Other Democratic majority committees who saw Trump administration subpoenas ignored are also heading to court. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah, there you go. They're all heading off to court. Everybody's going to court. California's suing the Trump administration for the 50th time. Everybody's going off to court. We need this. Man, it is crazy. That's a job. If you're somebody on the outside looking in and you've been very successful and you think to yourself, I think I'd like to do that job. Watching Trump, regardless of what you think of him, you think, I want no part of that job. I will pass on that. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Capitalism, free market economy, the individual creation of wealth.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country.
On the other side, socialism, government control of enterprise, wealth shared by all.
Democratic socialism is creating a government and an economy which works for all rather than just the top 1%.
According to a new Gallup poll, 47% of Americans say they would vote for a qualified presidential candidate who is a socialist.
It means putting democracy and society first instead of capital first.
Democrats are embracing the same tired economic theories that have impoverished nations and stifled the liberties of millions.
Yes, indeed. Capitalism and Socialism Town Hall last night. Very interesting on Fox Business. I like Fox Business. Of all of the, if they never watch any of the news things, I'll watch Kennedy and a few of the things they do there because I find it to be at least not as insane as a lot of the other stuff. But it was very interesting. They had Herman Cain on last night. They had a bunch of young socialists on. It was like a town hall debate kind of thing. It was just a very interesting and I think a very well done thing. I'm okay with having the debate of socialism. And if we're going to debate it, let's debate all of the things that are out there when it comes to both sides of the argument, right? Because I understand a lot of people are not fans of capitalism in the way that they think that capitalism is unfair and that it's just wrong. And I get why people don't like socialism because if you remember the last century up until now, it's kind of, how should we say this? Never, ever, ever worked.
Never in the history of the world
has
a socialist model worked. I don't care. Now, allow me to give one example. Most people want to point to Venezuela and then they're in denial. They want to point to Cuba and they're in denial. Have you ever heard of the USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic? They tried socialism for 70 years and it failed. Right. And when they finally figured it out, the 15 countries went their separate ways.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, and here's a perfect example of the capitalism inside of socialism. Socialism is supposed to be about the equality of things, right? I mean, that's just it. There's this social kind of situation where it's all about more equitable quality of things. Human nature, by design, people will do better. People will try and do better. People will just through who they are, their smarts, their work ethic, all of that stuff, they will pull ahead from the others. That's just nature. And when you watch it, socialism's one great redeeming thing is what? As far as when people could look on the outside in, is it has made everything equal because it has failed everywhere. But to show you that socialism has some capitalism in it, what do people want to do? We can do it better. Oh, I see. So they didn't do it right. Well, I think they did do it right. It just didn't work out the way they thought it was going to work out. And I'm not here to bash on this. You know, I make fun of the wackiness. I make fun of the fact that people want to deny what socialism looks like in places like Venezuela, and that's how it got there. And they'll say, oh, they're a dictatorship. They're not. Maduro was elected. The same people that yell at me and say that you're not getting the real story about socialism stuff. And then when you point out how bad it is over there, they're like, well, that's kind of more of a dictatorship. He was supposedly elected. Now, whether or not it was a fair election, we could debate that all day long. But we can always have this debate. It's a good thing to talk about. I understand why the young generation looks around, right? They look around and they say, what's in it for us right now? What's in it for us at this moment in time? Because they see somebody like Herman Cain. Older gentleman. I like Herman. I've hosted a show on more than a few occasions. He's been always very nice to me. He's a radio guy, and I will tell you, as long as all the other things that Herman has done, he built himself up out of nothing.
How can we call our country great or our society moral when a small number of wealthy people have far more money that could ever be required to live a comfortable life, while several people lack basic human rights such as housing, healthcare, or even food?
Alex, I first reject your assumptions that a lot of people are not able to pursue the so-called American dream. I'm an example. I started when I was very poor. I was willing to change jobs multiple times. I was able to climb up the corporate ladder. So I reject your hypothesis.
Yeah, I get that. He has. And then when people say, well, I can't do what you can do, because that's the big thing about the youth. And understand this, too. We, right, people, Gen Xers, baby boomers, the greatest generation, we understand what socialism has done in the last century. It's insane to think that kids nowadays aren't really getting the full scope of what socialism did in the last century and how it destroyed so many lives. And everybody wants to come and say, well, that's not real socialism. Let me show you, Norway's real socialism. Denmark is, the Scandinavian model is not socialism. They're a free market economy with a big safety net because of large taxes. But you know what they don't have? Does anybody have any idea what they don't have over there in the magical world of places like Denmark, Norway, and the Scandinavian model?
A lot of folks say, well, don't forget about Venezuela, forget about Cuba. The version of socialism that America should embrace, Norway, Denmark, or other nations where the government is heavily involved, where taxes are sky high. And while there's tight income inequality, there's not the type of upward mobility. You're not seeing the inventions of iPhones in Denmark. So I know they're happy people, but maybe because they didn't invent the iPhone, but we're not seeing that kind of stuff that happens in this country.
Yeah, they are beautiful people, too. Let's be real. And they have a very homogenous society, and they don't have, they're just very comfortable. Right? They also take a lot of medicine. But they're very comfortable. But they went through their version of socialism, and it almost destroyed them. The Swedes, in particular. Yeah, no. So I get the argument. I understand that. But inherently, human beings are going to want to do better. Inherently, there's going to be some that want to pull ahead. Inherently, there's going to be somebody who's going to put in more effort, more time, want more responsibility, and with that, they're going to get what? More money. It's frustrating. I get it. But show me something else that works better. Show me. And think about this. The stuff that hasn't been invented in a lot of places like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland. What's one of the first things that countries do when they start taxing them to the point where they're like, well, we're going to take our business and go elsewhere, right? And that's got to be frustrating as hell, too. But I get it. Look, I'm okay with having this debate. I got no problem with this. But until we find a better thing than capitalism, and it has its flaws, let's be real. And some of those flaws are things like the fact that, you know what? We can play games here in this country by going and courting power in D.C. for our business so you can go restrict anybody else from coming into our space. It's called crony capitalism. That drives us crazy. Should drive you crazy. You can't blame it on the actual system itself. You got to blame it on the people that are designing that are designing their future based on a system they know they can play with, because you've got government that's ready to roll and to play games with you because they want what you have, power. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet us. Speaking of smartphones, this is very interesting.
My smartphone in hand, I bring my work with me everywhere. But our devices make us less attentive. Having spent 10 years doing research in neurobiology, I wondered what technology does to our brains. By some measures, we're bombarded by more than 63 notifications a day. We receive over 90 emails and write about 40 of them. On average, we switch tasks every 3 minutes. When we face distractions, two areas of the brain, the parietal cortex and the frontal cortex, are in a sort of tug of war with each other.
Yeah, 63. Man, and I was like, well, I wonder how many I get a day. And I get, because of the show and everything, I get a lot. How many I talk to, that I don't know. But I do get a ton, and I say, yeah, I could see that you could totally become less attentive to things. And the average person's getting 63 a day, and this is very interesting.
The brain is deciding what's important and what's not, and that takes effort.
Even when you're cleaning your mailbox and you're not actually doing hard cognitive work, you kind of actually are, because there's all these essentially micro decisions. Looking at this email, do I need this? And so each of those decisions requires a little bit more of cognitive effort. And so, but when you add 2,000 of those, you end up with no power to make any other important decision.
Yeah, so it's... When you have too many balls in the air, maybe you start thinking about something. It's just we are so wired, and this thing is such an addictive thing. And I wonder if somebody was so forward thinking. I'm sure there was, but if as a group they were thinking, we're going to become slaves to our technology. We are. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's entertainment technology, whether it's work technology, we're going to become somewhat slaves, and our brain is in many ways going to have to almost rewire itself as we head into the future. That includes our thumbs. I'm telling you, man, our thumbs are going to change.
Notifications on our phones draw our attention away from the task at hand, so completing it may ultimately require more effort.
Every time you get distracted by a notification, you have to switch your attention and switch it back. The switching in and of itself actually requires cognitive effort, and so you end up more depleted at the end of the day. You
know who's got the advantage? ADD people, because they can do like 50 things at once. There's the advantage right there. If you're ADD, you're like, yeah. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. I see that, though. And how many of you, like, it used to be a phone call. You'd be working on something, and you'd get a phone call, and you'd take it, and it would totally knock you off the track you were on before. Now, just up that, whether you're sitting at the computer and you're typing in something and a little thing on the bottom of your screen pops up because you got an email notification for somebody else and your phone's buzzing over here, and you look around and you got three things going on at once, and trying to just focus on one singular thing is virtually impossible in this day and age. And I don't even know if we crave to do that anymore. I don't even know if we as individuals want to just hyper-focus on one thing, unless, of course, it's getting Trump's taxes or something. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet us. I think the Preakness is this weekend, and there's some people that are very angry about what took place in the Derby, like the owner.
Gary West, the co-owner of Maximum Security, the horse disqualified from this year's Kentucky Derby, is putting up $20 million of his own money to create a match race within a race. The other participants, the 4 horses involved in the Derby controversy with Maximum Security. That's War of Will, Country House, Long Range Toddy, and Bodie Express, challenging the owners of those horses that if they can beat his horse, he'll give them $5 million apiece. The potential target for this match race would be the July 20th Haskell Invitational at Monmouth Park.
It's very interesting because that's a lot of money, but he's still trying to win back the Kentucky Derby. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And people say, well, why is it important to win the Kentucky Derby? Because, first of all, it's a sport of kings because of the cost. Secondly, it's not in winning the race with prize money that matters, because that prize money pales in comparison probably what it costs to get that horse to that position. It is what comes with that in the stud fees. That's what matters. Justify winning the Triple Crown last year. I mean, the amount of money they make is insane. I watch HBO Real Sports. They had like a stud that had won, I think, 2 of the 3, in the Triple Crown races. And it was, sometimes they'll breed with like 15 or 20 horses. God knows how many horses a day at 50, 80, 100,000 pop, 200,000, 500,000 a pop. I don't even know what the going rate is right now. So you start adding that up during that portion of the season. That's real money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Car Shield. Incredible. Amazing. Get it. Protect your car in the what-if situation in life, because at some point in time your car is going to have issues. And many people, guess what? When they have those issues, what don't you have anymore? A warranty. Well, that's where Car Shield comes in. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. And that shop is the shop that you choose. You pay a small deductible, and then they get them paid. You don't have to worry about anything other than that. It's that simple. Save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Get covered by the ultimate and extended vehicle protection. Do what I did. Call 800-CAR-6000. Mention code Benson, or better yet, go online, carshield.com. Remember to use my code Benson, saves you 10%. But you can look and see at all of the things they have there, and you can check out which plan works best for you. That's carshield.com, carshield.com. Code Benson. 10% discount right there. Deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show. Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
So we were talking about stud fees before we were so rudely interrupted by the break. And this is insane. Get ready for this, guys. So, American Pharoah, which was the first Triple Crown winner. All right, so it's the first Triple Crown winner in 37 years, a couple of years ago, commands $200,000 for their stud fees. That's per cover, they say. Right? So that's the term for live breeding, right? And this is before his fee became private. So who knows what it is now? You ready for this? The top stallions can breed over 200 mares in a season and then go to the southern hemisphere and breed again. So think about how much money they can make. And the crazy thing is, Tappet, which literally is the highest paid stallion, commands $300,000 per and may do 400 horses a year as far as the breeding goes. Oh, man. Oh, geez. It is definitely the sport of kings, kids. They were the king of comedy, at least on television.
We won.
They won more than just a Nobel Prize. The final Big Bang Theory episode scored some sweet ratings. Just under 18 million viewers said goodbye to Sheldon, Penny, Leonard, and the rest of the gang Thursday night. While not a record, it's the biggest numbers for the show in almost 4 years. And it'll probably be the most watched episode of broadcast TV this season. And the Big Bang Theory goes out on top, the highest rated show on broadcast TV. The last show that ended its run when it was number one, Seinfeld, 21 years ago.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because when you've got a formula that works, you've got young Sheldon, but do you spin off from here and give Raj or somebody their own show? Is that there? Because I'm not sure, because obviously they didn't really kind of do any of those things with Friends and stuff, and you wondered if, I don't know if they'll do anything like that. Probably not, but you never know. When you have a formula that works, you go back to it. I went last night, saw John Wick, which is going to be number one this weekend. The formula works. It was amazing. I loved it. Out of the three, I would say it's my favorite out of the three. Better than two by far. And it could be in a tie with one, but it's a formula. And the thought process was it was kind of be the last one. There's no way it's the last one. You can tell it's not the last one. They made it plain to see it's not the last one. It was amazing. Whew, goodness me. I don't even know what the kill count is. It's got to be well into the hundreds. Just insane. It's awesome. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You tweet at me. Love hearing from you guys. Happy Friday. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I loved Hillary Clinton. I thought that she was a candidate that was misunderstood, that her message wasn't coming across. But I think if she would have come on the show, I was begging her. I said, I didn't talk to her directly. I think she was afraid of me, and justifiably. But I was trying to say to her, can you imagine, Joy?
It's tough, and she played it safe, too.
She played it safe. And that's the warning to whoever becomes the Democratic nominee.
Who do you like?
Don't play it safe.
Who do you like?
Yeah, it's interesting when that's Howard Stern on The View, and that play it safe thing is real. I mean, you got to be, you go big or you go home. You got to be in it to win it. And the Democrats have to figure out what they want, right? Because what they have right now is Joe Biden. What do they want? They say they want younger. They say they want more diversity. They have all of that in the field. But it's about defeating Trump as the number one thing above all else.
Almost like there's so many people, I'm on overload. And, every week it's sort of like the flavor of the month.
Well, Biden's way ahead.
Biden's way ahead because I think people want a new president so badly that they want to play it a little safe. A guy who's been the vice president,
right, exactly.
He's tested.
Yeah, so they play it safe. And you can't. You have to go for it. You absolutely have to go for it, right? You just throw everything against the wind and you just say, screw it, man. I'm doing this. I know I'm running uphill. I know I'm running against the wind. I got to be outside the box. I have to be a thinker that is going to be able to speak to every single person. And so you had, Elizabeth Warren the other day who says that, God, you got to be honest with you guys. I'm not going on Fox because what? Fox is evil and they're a hate factory and they're for profit. Apparently profit is bad, but they're nothing but a hate factory. But so you don't want to go and talk to those people at all. And this is what, oddly enough, this is what the ladies on The View said about that.
And you know what? If you can't face the Fox audience, you can't face the U.S. It's that simple.
Yeah. And it's part of that is the fact that I think that you think nowadays it's like nobody's going to like me on the other side, right? So I'm just going to do all I can to get everybody in my camp that I possibly can. And then really what we're talking to is about 10 to 14, 15% of people in America that won't make up their mind. So I've got to try to win them over. And that's it. But no, you've got to go and you've got to show this is who I am. This is what I'm about, and I'm here to speak to everybody. And funny enough, Elizabeth Warren said everything if I didn't know any of these people, Elizabeth Warren said enough about not going on Fox and what she said about them. What she said essentially is, it's your people. It's the people that watch Fox. I can't stand those people, so I'm not going to come on your show because they're just a bunch of ignorant people who are racist. And sexist. So I'm not going to do that. If you've watched any of the town halls or interview that Fox have done, whether you like Fox or don't like Fox, if you've watched any of them, it's completely fair, right? Now, I'm not talking about the opinion heads and the Tucker Carlsons and the Hannitys. We got some funny Hannity stuff. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about Bernie Sanders in his town hall. There wasn't a bunch of people that hated Bernie Sanders there. It was, and producer Anthony and I were just talking. He's like, man, I watched, I gotta be honest with you, they throw up some softballs. They do. It's not antagonistic. It's not throwdown. It's none of those things. Bernie makes everything feel at times antagonistic because just the way he talks. Here's Jay Inslee, governor, Washington, running as a Democrat. Where is he? He's on Fox and Friends. He's not afraid to go on Fox and Friends.
Let's talk to the man who's running on climate change and the environment, 2020 Democratic presidential hopeful and governor of the great state of Washington, Jay Inslee.
I look forward to talking about clean energy jobs, but I do want to make some news on Fox Friends. I always want to make news on your show first, and that is today I am challenging Donald Trump on his favorite show to release his tax returns like I did this morning. It is time for him to come clean with the American people. He's got to show what he's been hiding.
But he went on there. And they treated him extremely fair. And that is great. So you got Warren dissing. No, I don't want any part of that, which shows me that that's what you think about, you have a disdain for Fox. Fine. You're not there for Fox. You're there to reach the audience and try to maybe change. If you change a few people's minds in that audience, wouldn't that be a victory? Right? Isn't that the whole point? Kirsten Gillibrand, she's going to go on Fox, and she's being questioned about it.
Why did you accept, and what do you think of her response?
My belief is that President of the United States needs to represent everyone. And I am going to ask every voter for their vote, regardless of where they live, whether they're in a red state or a purple state or a blue state.
I think that's great. It's funny because Elizabeth Warren talks about what a divider, that's all I hear is what a divider Trump is. What a divider. Actually, we divide ourselves. So let's not, does Trump play into the rhetoric game? Who doesn't? All right. That's the way we are. But the reality is you just said, nope, I only want to govern my people. Just like I always say, when people say President Trump is not my president, I say, yes, he is. It's like saying that this pilot on the airplane is not my pilot when you're 35,000 feet. No, yes, they are. It would be now what we want to have is the pilot on the airplane 35,000 feet in the air saying half of this isn't my passengers. No, they're your passengers. Whether you like it or not, they're your passengers. You do. And I love what she said here.
I believe you need to meet voters where they are, and a lot of America happens to watch that network. So I would like to do a town hall so I can speak to all Americans about their values, their views, their priorities, and where I stand and what my vision for this country is, and my experience to actually realize that vision.
Yeah, I like it. Do it. Go there. Just like I would tell Trump, you know what? You need to get out there more. And I have a feeling over election time that he will. And he does do, he'll do his some interviews. Not a ton of presence. It's not like we saw Obama ever really on Fox. I think he was on once with O'Reilly that I can remember, like a halftime interview. But you need to get out there and go meet people. You need to be out there and do it. It's funny. It really is absolutely funny. And you lose when you have an opportunity and a platform. You can go on with Rachel Maddow But a chance to go on Fox, the number one network, and you don't want to do that is completely asinine and stupid, especially if you want to get across your message to these people. Look, I don't like President Trump. It's not that I don't like you. You did the exact opposite. And I think a lot of people might make the same mistake, which is fine. I want to see when they offer Joe Biden the opportunity. But when you turn it down in the way that she did it,
I think just because there are a bunch of good journalists who work there doesn't erase what's going on there, which one could argue is exactly as Elizabeth Warren describes it, a direct connection from a corrupt president who is a racist to megaphones, to people who parrot it like, a bunch of dupes.
That was probably her in her bathroom talking because she's the only one in there. But there's a perfect example of she's right that she did that. No, she gave an opportunity to go into, quote unquote, the lion's den, and you turned that down because you want it all on your terms and you hate. But there is some damn good journalists over there. There are some people that will ask real questions. The talking heads are talking heads. That's all over. CNN, Fox, MSNBC. But if you turn down the opportunity to go and speak before millions of people, it says a lot about you. It should. It should.
But I would argue that a presidential candidate should be able to walk into any situation, walk into any fire, and have the confidence and the ability to put it out by spreading the democratic values and his or her beliefs. And I think they should go into Fox and do all the town halls they can do. Because Fox, you could argue, is smart to be doing these. That's a sign of some sort of change, hopefully, or at least an opportunity for it.
Yeah, but you know what? What the Democratic say? We're not going to let them host any of the debates. There you go. Just keep doing that. Talk about division. Talk about taking your ball. I think it's a mistake. I do. I think it's a mistake. You got to go to everybody. That's always been my big thing. When I look at the Republicans and the failure to go into the inner cities and to try to win over black voters, voters of colors, Hispanic, the failure to do that is so massive. That has been one of their biggest failures across the board, over and over again. And it's not like it's hard. You walk into a community, especially a downtrodden community, and say, look, you're giving them 50 plus years, and what do you have? Nothing to show for it. You continue to give blind loyalty. Let me show you what I can do for it. You could go in there, but you fail to go in there. It's when I was at the Republican National Convention, what an absolute. When I was talking to Rance Priskin, a.k.a. Reince Priebus, and I talked to him about why aren't you going into more communities of color? Why aren't you doing a better job? Because when it comes to a lot of the values on some of the issues, you have a lot in common. And their attitude the entire time was like, well, they'll come to us. And I'm like, no, they won't. And why would they? You don't make them feel like they're welcomed. And the whole they'll come to us thing is if you build it, they will come. No, they're not going to. You're going to have to go meet them. Oh, God. Maybe I should run some of these damn things. Couldn't do any worse. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Here's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from each and every one of you. Grumpy Cat died. Did you guys hear? Trying to figure out how much money the Grumpster made. Tartar Sauce was Grumpy's real name. It's a female kitty, by the way. She had dwarfism. That's why she was had that face. And people were asking me today because they heard me talking about it earlier because I was talking about, they're like, how much money Grumpy Cat made? I said, I don't know what Grumpy Cat made. But I'm assuming they made millions. All right. I will tell you, they made millions. I think the industry itself off the grump and everything probably made, in excess of 30, 40, $50 million. That doesn't mean the owners made that. But, they may have sold their rights onto things and companies wouldn't take them. And, in some aspects, I've heard up to $100 million. But it's just insane to think that it made that kind of money. And I kept thinking to myself, you guys have no idea. I went to they have like a Comic-Con convention, but it's for all the like the YouTubers and stuff like that. So you get infinite lists and all these people. And I went to this thing. It was just, I'm in there, right? And I'm wandering around and I'm seeing all the, the YouTube stars and the Instagram stars and all of these people that are social famous. And the line that's the longest, I'm like, who in God's name is that? They're like, not who, but it. And I said, who's it? And they're like, Grumpy Cat. It's like a 2-hour wait to get your picture with Grumpy Cat. So bizarre. It was just so weird. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Godspeed, Grump. Godspeed. You know what I would have done for Grumpy? I'd have got Grump only the best, and I would have made sure that Grumpy Cat had Butcher Box, right? Because you get the best of the best, and with barbecue season, Grump would have loved it. Would have absolutely loved it, right? It's right here. They got the ultimate barbecue package. They got the best beef, grass-fed, grass-finished, organic, free-range chicken, wild sockeye salmon, the best pork, ground beef that's amazing, 20 different cuts. Grump would have been like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Less than $6 a meal. Only the best for the Grump. Only the best. You can get yours right now with a little something. $20 off your first box and the BBQ bundle. Oh, yeah. What's that? 2 extra New York strip steaks. Baby back ribs, 2 pounds of ground beef, free shipping, $20 off. Boom. Butcherbox.com/Chad. 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 Godspeed, Crump. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Stuart actually came from the UK, where there was a sort of a command and control.
There was.
Right. So you've lived both differences, Stuart.
European socialism does not work. And I'm an example of that. In the 1970s, that was when I was in England, the coal industry, steel industry, rail industry, gas industry, road transportation, what else have we got here? Oh, electricity, healthcare, all of that, and the airlines owned and run by the government. And they ran it into the ground. That was English socialism.
Yeah, they did. They run everything into the ground back then. And now most of that stuff's privatized, obviously. And the only thing that's successful in the rail industry is Virgin's got, much like Amtrak, there's a perfect example of how subsidized stuff is. We have a lot of socialist, programs here in America. But what the kids are talking about nowadays is realistically is what you're talking about is you want a higher taxation on the wealthy and then spread that money out. But when you talk real socialism and you think they can work, I always tell everybody, remember, all you do is, quote unquote, take the power that you think the wealthy have and you transfer it to government people and you think the government is going to be fair with it. And you find out when you look around the globe how horrible they do at being fair when they have that kind of power that eventually becomes completely unchecked. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Somebody just tweeted in and goes, Grumpy Cat makes more money than I. Yeah, Grumpy Cat did. And Grumpy Cat, you wonder if Grumpy got other stuff. Did Grumpy get some? Did you get something for Grump? I don't know. Maybe Grumpy got, Grumpy bought houses, but did Grumpy get a couch that's just Grumpy's couch? I don't know. If you guys didn't hear, Grumpy Cat died today, age 7. Hey, we're going to the great organization that Grumpy would approve. Grumpy Cat would have loved this. They're called Wounded Paw. Right now, they're looking for your help. What they do is they go into kill for shelter, places where so you have no kill shelters and kill shelters where just they're going to try to adopt you out in a day or two. If not, boom, you're gone. They actually take these amazing dogs that seem to be thrown away, train them up to be service dogs, and then get them to veterans, first responders, and their families. 20 veterans a day die because of suicide. They need your help right now. Call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729, or go to woundedpaw.careasy.org. They need your used vehicle. They need an RV, truck, boat, whatever you have. They'll come get it. You'll save a paw. You'll save a life. They're an amazing organization. Woundedpaw.careasy.org. Check them out. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We cherish the open door that we want to create for our country, but a big proportion of those immigrants must come in through merit and skill.
Oh, my God. How dare you say that? That was Donald Trump yesterday delivering his wish list when it comes to immigration. Most of us agree, right or left, that we've got a problem with immigration, that the system isn't working the way it was designed, and the stuff that we did put in there, well, guess what? We put it in with good faith, but it's being used against us, and we need to fix it. Now, if you're on the we have to make everything hair on fire. And when you talk about immigration, if you're not for open borders and or a super lax immigration system, right, you are a racist.
Use that information to promote himself in a campaign. And I think it is some of that is very racist. It is not keeping with what this country is supposed to be all about. It is not what our Statue of Liberty pretends.
What exactly, just so our viewers know, are you saying is racist there?
Well, you know, this business about you must speak English. We're going to give you points for speaking English. And we don't want poor people. We only want those people who are earning substantial wages already.
Well, first of all, I'm going to just interrupt you, Maxine Waters. Yeah, we don't. Here's the thing about America at this point in time in our history. There was a time when we wanted to grow fast, right? Quick. We wanted to be on steroids. We're at the point now where we can be a little choosy. And no, I don't know if I want a bunch of poor people here that are going to land on our shores and we have to automatically start taking care of them. Who's for that? Just curious. Who is for that? Who thinks that's a good idea? Try to move somewhere else with not a dollar in your pocket. They're going to kick your ass home fast. You got to prove that you're coming here not to be a burden, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Speaking English is going to make your life 1,000 times better in a country where we speak English. But instead, we have this group of people that want to bend over backwards to make everything that people do from a different country the same as if they were still in their country, and I find it ridiculous. Yes, you know what? We're at the point where we can choose a little bit more, right? We're at that point where we're no longer that, hey, we'll take everybody. You know what? We'd like to take some people. And we're still taking 1 million plus people a year, not counting illegal immigration. We're handing out 1.1 million green cards. We can afford to be a little choosy. How about the best and the brightest? Is that so wrong? Why is it wrong that I want you to come here and embrace our culture? That's a bad thing, Chad. You're a xenophobe and a racist. Whatever. Why is it wrong that I expect when you come here, you're coming here because not only do you want to be a part of it, but you're also going to support yourself and not live off Uncle Sam? I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
All of those things are not keeping in step with the way that we treat human beings. And even the fact that, you know, he used to talk about chain migration when you were able to help others in the family come. He's going to limit that. And I think that some of those policies are racist.
Yeah, of course you do, because it's an easy thing to say. And by the way, chain migration is ridiculous. It is. It is. Let me ask you guys this, right? Minus maybe, you know what? Okay, I'll let you bring mom and dad if you need to, especially if mom or dad are sick or a little bit older. But if you move from, say, Sacramento to, I don't know, let's say you move to you get a job in Toronto, and who are you going to bring? You can bring your wife, right, or your husband. And if you have kids, you bring your kids. Okay, you do that. You can bring your mom and dad, especially if they're okay. You bring your mom and dad? Probably not. You gonna bring you gonna bring your brother and sister? Probably not. You gonna bring your aunts and uncles? Probably not. You bring your cousins? Probably not. Right? Hell, if you move from from San Diego to Sacramento. Are you going to do that? Probably not. But it's insane. And you bring up any of these things, you're a racist. Well, then call it what it is. You want to do that? That's fine. I'm a realist. You want to call me a racist? I don't think that we should say, hey, give us all your poor so we can take care of them. Because at some point in time, you go look at all the polls, most people want to fix, and that includes both sides of the aisle. They may differ on how they want to get there, but they kind of all want to go to the same place. We could look at DACA. And by the way, let me tell you something about DACA. I talked to a lot of DACA kids. They don't want DACA. You know what? They want the DREAM Act. They don't want DACA restored. They want the DREAM Act. They want that thing done and dusted. They want that thing put out there. They want real opportunity. Most people, hell, Trump offered them DACA. They didn't want it because it's a game. They don't want to give him a win. That's fine. That's politics, is what it is. But people, at some point in time, we need to start hiring people that have our best interests and put people over the party and doing the right thing. It's ridiculous to think that we can't have sovereign borders that really actually protect ourselves from an influx of God knows how many people that we don't know who they are, and they're coming here claiming asylum using our laws against us with no plan and automatically on the dole, as we would say in England. It's ridiculous. It really, really is. But here we are, kids. Here we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. There's a debate going on because of SAT scores, and this one kind of has nothing to do with that whole varsity blues thing. But, people will point at it.
The new category is called an adversity score. It will rate students from 0 to 100 based on how much privilege the College Board believes they have. The formula for all this is secret, of course. The people who came up with it know that it's pure pseudoscience. According to the Wall Street Journal, the test will calculate privilege based on 15 different factors. Some will draw on neighborhood statistics like the crime rate, poverty, home values. And then there are factors that look at a student's own family, factors like household income and whether both parents live at home.
Yeah, so we talked a bit about this yesterday, but they're really breaking it down, and the debate is starting to rage and partly because of what Tucker said right there, is this weird, we're not going to tell you what your score is scenario. So if you don't want to release that, I'm not quite sure, so there's going to be something that you're giving me extra scores. And the other thing is, are you taking scores away? So if I come from a semi-affluent home, right? So my perfect example is my son, right? My kids they're living a good life. And let's say he scores well on the SAT. Dad's alive, mom's alive, right? He's a cracker. He's, life is good for him. He lives in a nice neighborhood. He doesn't, all of these things are going to be added into it. Is he going to get points deducted because he had some other advantages that other people didn't have? I mean, that's also, how is this thing weighted?
This is a pure inversion of the intent of the SAT. From the first day, the whole point of the test of the SAT was that your background didn't matter. The SAT was devised to create as level a playing field as possible. Everybody took the same test. Grading was blind. It didn't matter where you came from.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, you take the test, right? You take the test. Here's the test. What's the test? This test right here, right? 2 + 2 over here is 4 for you. 2 + 2 over here is 4 for you. The fact that he's black or she's black, he's Asian, over there, she's white, whatever, it should be a test, right? And it didn't matter. I don't care how you got here, but you're here and you have the opportunity to take the test now. But now we're trying to put other things in because there are people out there who can afford to send their kids off to take special courses that, help you with the SAT scores and all of these kind of things. So they figure, well, let's start factoring in some of that. We'll start grading upon a curve.
Nobody thought the SAT was going to make everyone the same. That's impossible. People are not the same. Some people have natural advantages, including on standardized tests, and always will. You can't change that, unfortunately, any more than you could make everyone tall enough to play in the NBA. What you can do and what you must do is ensure fairness. Everyone deserves to have the same rights. Everyone should have the same standards and be held to them in the same way. That's the most basic promise of America.
No, it's not. And And I'll remind everybody this, and I want to continue to do so. These are institutions that have administrators who look at your scores. And if your whole goal is trying to justify why you want to bring a kid in that got a 3.1, and you want to try to figure out how you can make it a 4.3 to justify it, it is your school, it is your club. You can let anybody in your club that you want to let in your club. It's that simple.
The College Board is explicitly rejecting this. On the new SAT, it isn't ability that matters. It's where you rank on the privilege hierarchy. And it's not hard to imagine the perverse effects of this. Under the new standards, if you worked hard and stayed married for the sake of your children, your kids will be punished for that.
That's a little bit much, but that's what I was just asking earlier. Is there somewhere where you would be penalized? Because my son maybe has some advantages that other kids have, but there are other kids out there who have more advantages than him. At what point in time do you say, okay, because of this, we're going to check this. Your mom and dad, you're not raised by a single parent, if you will. You know, your mom and dad are still around. You know, they may not be married, but they're still around together, so you're not being just right. I mean, are they going to start checking things off? I think that's when you don't tell people how the scoring goes, that's not always good. It's not. And it is ridiculous. It is. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't figure out a way to help kids who do struggle. That's what we should be doing. Rather than going in and saying, well, we're going to start making up these pseudo weird science stuff to try to figure stuff out. Again, it's your school. You can kind of do what you want to do in your school. Am I correct? Right? You can kind of change the rules and say we're going to allow in 500 people that fall in this criteria here. We're going to figure out how to get them here. And also, we got to figure out how we take some of this crazy funding that we spend on useless things and figure out how we can help kids who are studying for this and don't have the socioeconomic opportunities as other people, so they do have somewhat more of a level playing field. But if they fail from there, it isn't because only mom was around. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from each and every one of you. Oh, God, it just drives me crazy. It really does drive me just nuts when I hear crap like this. By the way, you want to hear something funny? This is Trump yesterday talking about, de Blasio. Comrade de Blasio is running for president of the United States, and Trump has a message.
Can't believe it. I just heard that the worst mayor in the history of New York City, and without question, the worst mayor in the United States, now running for president. It will never happen. I'm pretty good at predicting things like that. I would be very surprised to see him in there for a long period. It's not going to happen. If you like high taxes and if you like crime, you can vote for him. But most people aren't into that. So be better off if you got back to New York City and did your job for the little time you have left. Good luck. Do well.
And everybody's like, oh, here's the thing. If you've watched any of the news cycles over the last couple of days, they've been hammering Bill de Blasio. He doesn't show up at work. He's late. He's 7 out of 10 people in New York just think he's an absolute buffoon and joke. Even CNN made fun of him. And the morning news, CBS Morning News. Here's CBS Morning News.
Bill de Blasio is the answer to what question that isn't being answered?
Unclear. And I love, God bless the New York Post this morning. New Yorkers laughing on the cover. This is probably a better America.
You've been warned.
Yes. I think the problem is he thinks if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, no, they were making fun of him. There was protests yesterday saying you can't even govern the city. How in God's name are you going to govern a country? Oh, just anybody, man, anybody. Anybody wants to get in. But remember, a lot of times people jump into big elections like this because very little to do with any opportunity of winning. It has all to do with raising your profile, which will raise your profile for things like great opportunities to be on CNN or Fox or MSNBC, better book deals, being able to go out and get bigger speaking gigs. So a lot of it is economics and raising profile and brand as much as it is the opportunity to win. I think he thinks I could be president. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say woo!
Between Instagram and Twitter, Grumpy Cat had over 3 million followers, people who would wait for the little brown and white felines every meme. There she was in February riding a Roomba earlier this month with a little wig on, saying, "May the 4th be awful." She's on calendars and coffee mugs and pajamas and placemats, even Bob's shoes. Her little angry face, the result of a form of cat dwarfism. Now she's gone at age 7. Urinary tract infections are fairly common in cats, including grumpy ones. Her owners say the official Grumpy Cat had one of those and died of complications.
Tater, don't say it's over. Tater Sauce is Grumpy Cat's real name. By the way, Grumpy Cat is a she. It's a she. Was a she. It's no longer a she. I was trying to figure out, because there's conflicting reports say, what? On how much money. And I said money Grumpy Cat made. Grumpy Cat made dollar bills, yo. You're sitting around right now thinking to yourself, man, I got to get a better job, or, I got a career. Yeah, Grumpy Cat's owner made a ton of money. How much? They're not saying how much money Grumpy Cat made. The industry itself has said the industry of Grumpy Cat probably made anywhere between, $30 million to $100 million, depending on what you're looking at, where you're looking at it. It made several $million. No, the cat made several $1 million. Just understand how much money the cat and the owners, if they were smart, were going to do with the money. If they played it right, they could do other things. But think about this for a second, right? So you've got this cat, and to show you the popularity of the cat, they have like something similar to Comic-Con. They have a thing that is for YouTube stars, for social media stars, where you go and you see all the social media stars. I went to it. It's in L.A. And it's got all of the usual suspect. It's got, infinite list and all of the, these big, YouTube stars and social media stars and Grumpy Cat. To take a picture with Grumpy Cat, you were going to wait in line about 2 hours. That's how insane it was. Say what? Yeah, that is insane, but true. Grumpy, you shall be missed. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Let's have some fun. This is Family Guy poking fun at Sean Hannity. Try not to laugh, but you're gonna.
Put up a picture of Sean Hannity.
Yeah, he does look weird.
Yeah, who does he look like?
I'm seeing Mr. Doubtfire. He looks like an angry face drawn on a thumb.
Or the mayor who won't close the beaches in Jaws.
Wreck-It Ralph at a job interview.
You know that's a guy who's roughly led his wife out of parties by the elbow.
He looks like a handsome weeble.
Yeah, but either way, he's that Little League coach the parents hope their kids don't get. He looks like a fish that inflates to scare predators.
I'm thinking Fred and Barney's son.
Trust me on this. Strip club lunch regular.
I feel like that's a dad who's ripped his kids' posters off the wall.
Drowned in the lake last month, Colin Farrell. All right, that was fun.
You can't laugh at yourself, man. Who can you laugh at? And by the way, it's not me, but I'm laughing. And my favorite one wasn't on there. It was, he looks like the mayor in Jaws who wouldn't close the beaches. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love it when you do. Also, grab the podcast at thechadshow.com. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I loved Hillary Clinton. I thought that she was a candidate that was misunderstood, that her message wasn't coming across. But I think if she would have come on the show, I was begging her. I said, I didn't talk to her directly. I think she was afraid of me, and justifiably. But I was trying to say to her, can you imagine, Joy?
But stop, and she played it safe, too.
She played it safe. And that's the warning to whoever becomes the Democratic nominee.
Who do you like?
Don't play it safe.
Who do you like?
That's Howard Stern on The View. And you know what? I have said, if you want to get your message out there that you're not the robot, I said this for a long time with Hillary, you've got to change it. And one of those things would have been going on Howard Stern. Because he would have been able to, because you don't go on Howard Stern, you're not going to find anything out in 5 minutes. right? To get into a situation, Howard Stern's a great interviewer, partly because his interviews are more than 3 minutes long, 5 minutes long. I mean, you know, in regular radio land, you get your 5-10 minutes and that's about it. You're on to something else. And these people, but you go on Stern and you're going to be on there for a little while. It's one of the reasons that you go watch Joe Rogan. You're able to find out so much more because you're going to spend 2 hours with him and you're going to talk about everything. How's your grandkids? Hey, what do you do for fun? Do you like movies? Oh my God, yeah, I went and saw that movie. It was great. You know, hey, you know, one of the funny things is I like when my toast is burned. And then what happens is the walls come down because you're having a conversation, and that's when the real you comes out. And that was her big thing. We all joked, everybody, even people on the left, that she wasn't a human being. She was a robot. You knew what she was going to say, how she was going to say it, when she was going to say it. It was the same thing over and over and over and over again. And she lost. Trump, the one thing about Trump is you don't know what he's going to say. You don't know how he's going to say it. You don't know when he's going to say it. Right? He'll say his usual stat lines, but then he's going to throw other things out there that are just going to be like, wow. And that's the thing that was so refreshing in a lot of ways about Trump in politics is that PC-ness went away. But now you're taking him on again, and you've seen what happens when you are the dull and the predictable.
Almost like there's so many people, I'm on overload. And, you know, every week it's sort of like the flavor of the month.
Well, Biden's way ahead.
Biden's way ahead because I think people want a new president so badly that they want to play it a little safe. A guy who's been the vice president,
exactly.
He's tested.
Yeah, they do. And that could be your downfalling. When I think about this, right, Biden's been around forever. So if you're the Democratic Party, You're going further and further left, according to just about everybody and every outlet out there, right? Even though I don't think they're as far left, I just think that there's a certain loud group that tends to have the microphone. But you are definitely, you know, it's no longer just center left. You've moved even further beyond that. But you want to be woke, right? You might have to wake him up to woke him. But he's safe because you want to beat him so bad. But he's not a woman, right? He is not a person of color. He's the exact opposite. He's a male who's white, who's straight. And that's everything they're not supposed to be. But the want to beat Trump so bad may play into, hey, we need to put the best person out there who has a chance of winning, rather than saying, hey, I got an idea. We need to take a shot here. And it's not so much the Democratic Party. It's the people. Because as much as they may say, because to me, if I look out there and if I'm Trump, I'm worried about a few people on stage. The number one person I'm worried about on stage is Kamala Harris. She's smart. She's tough. She was a prosecutor. And if you're going to go into the intersectionality of the wackiness of the world, which, you know, we play identity politics, she's a female and she's a person of color. So you've got all kinds of things there. And yet again, she's a tough, bright cookie who, you know what, she could bring it. I'm not afraid of Joe.
And I feel bad for the women running because it probably is time for a woman to run. But because everyone's so nervous, they're tightening up and saying it better be Joe Biden because they got to get the best shot.
And the women are incredibly smart. The
incredibly
ones that are running,
smart.
all of them.
And so, you know, there's a lot of good candidates out there, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Do I think any of them are going to beat Joe at this point? I think it's tough to say that they will. And like Bernie, I feel like Bernie, you're not feeling the burn anymore because there's so many people. He's got a traffic jam in his lane right now where he used to be the only one. It was the Bernie Autobahn and go as fast as he wants. But it is very interesting to see because people want to defeat Trump so bad. They don't care. They do not care who beats Trump. They don't care. They do just somebody beat him. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So last night, Fox Business did something very interesting because you see all these town halls, right? Whether, you know, Beto's getting a town hall, I think, next week. And, you know, there's some other town halls coming up on Fox, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But Fox did something different. They said, here's capitalism, here's socialism. Let's have a little bit of a debate.
Capitalism, free market economy, the individual creation of wealth.
Here in the United States, we are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country.
On the other side, socialism, government control of enterprise, wealth shared by all.
Democratic socialism is creating a government and an economy which works for all rather than just the top 1%.
According to a new Gallup poll, 47% of Americans say they would vote for a qualified presidential candidate who is a socialist.
It means putting democracy and society first instead of capital first.
Democrats are embracing the same tired economic theories that have impoverished nations and stifled the liberties of millions.
Yeah, so that was on display last night, and it was actually very interesting. Both sides gave as good as they got, if you will, and you definitely have this generational gap, too. You had a generational gap because you've got older people who have seen the failings of socialism globally, right? They understand what socialism has done. And the only socialism you could point at in today's age would be somewhere like Venezuela. I know everybody wants to talk about, and I'm going to explain this to everybody. I want everybody to gather around the radio. Denmark, it's not socialist. They'll tell you that. They told Bernie, stop saying we're socialist, because Denmark is a free market society with a healthy safety net based on lots of taxation. But there's not tons of growth there. There's no innovation coming out of there. Right? You're not seeing that. But you had it on display last night, and I thought it was very interesting. Herman Cain. It was a good dude. I've filled in on Herman's show a couple times, and he's a good guy, and I've talked to Herman on more than a few occasions, and he's got a story.
How can we call our country great or our society moral when a small number of wealthy people have far more money that could ever be required to live a comfortable life, while several people lack basic human rights such as housing, health care, or even food?
Alex, I first reject your assumptions that a lot of people are not able to pursue the so-called American dream. I am an example. I started when I was very poor. I was willing to change jobs multiple times. I was able to climb up the corporate ladder. So I reject your hypothesis.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? When you look at socialist countries and how you want to be equal and that it's all about distribution of wealth, have you ever noticed the people that live above socialism who want to control it always seem to live in really nice areas? Last time I checked, Maduro looks like he's eating quite nicely. Anyone? And true socialism, which I don't think many of these candidates want. I think Bernie, to be fair, if he had his way, would love the government to come in to control a lot more of private industry and privatize a lot of things. I don't think he would go to the extent of what like Hugo Chavez did and Maduro have done. But I think there was something he would love to take over, or at least have government far more involved than just health care. I really do. I think what they want is they want a high taxation nation. That's what they want. They want a high taxation nation. But you have a real different, and I'm telling you, the age gap is a big thing. Because the majority of Americans have seen socialism firsthand, going back to grandma and grandpa and great-grandma and great-grandpa, and even my generation that saw and grew up with the tail end of the Cold War and saw the collapsing of that. And this younger generation that's gone to school and has been indoctrinated, in particular in college, where they tell everybody how unequitable life is, and they go through all of this stuff, and they hear only the great things about socialism with rarely any of the other pitfalls that have followed socialism.
You think there's only one way to really right this, and that's through a socialistic society?
Yeah, as socialists, we believe in putting the power back in the hands of everyday Americans, taking away from the few at the top that have means to control the agenda for the rest of us. We want a government that's for the people, by the people, truly.
What would you say to Herman? He started out in the 1940s in Georgia, and he was able to propel himself to a place. Does that not exist anymore for someone your age?
I believe that millennials are entering a really difficult economic system.
No, wrong. It's a great system. Jobs, opportunities, right? Because you spend $100,000 to get a degree in something that's not going to really have opportunities for you to be mobile or to do things. That's not on anybody else. I mean, the fact that you even had an opportunity to go get an education like that. And think about this. You talk about taking away the power of people out there in the capitalist society and giving back to the people. What you don't realize is you take away that power from the people. I mean, from the privatization and the capitalistic, evil people that are out there that are controlling everything. Who do you think that power goes to? Because it never shifts to the people. What it does is you just transfer that power to the government, who tells you that they're going to slowly but surely allow you to have more and more and make it equitable. But then what you find out is they continue to keep the power for themselves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Once again, sad news today as the passing of an icon.
Between Instagram and Twitter, Grumpy Cat had over 3 million followers, people who would wait for the little brown and white felines every meme. There she was in February riding a Roomba earlier this month with a little wig on, saying, "May the 4th be awful." She's on calendars and coffee mugs and pajamas and placemats, even Bob's shoes. Her little angry face, the result of a form of cat dwarfism. Now she's gone at age 7. Urinary tract infections are fairly common in cats, including grumpy ones. Her owners say the official Grumpy Cat had one of those and died of complications.
I just don't know what to do. It's over for Grump. We did all we could. We couldn't save the Grump. Tater Sauce. That's the Grump's real name. Who knows how many? I mean, they estimate between like $30 and $100 million in revenue and stuff, money made off of. Not so much for the owners, but just its little industry itself. And that's just crazy. Even if it's $5 million, think about that. Right? Think about you having a pet. I have a dog named Doodle who's useless. Not grumpy or cool, just useless. Winston, on the other hand, I think Winston's poised for stardom. But I couldn't. The insanity of me making Winston an internet viral star, and we've joked about it here. Producer Phil and Anthony and I were joking about it earlier. If the opportunity for that to happen, where a year from now I can go, guys, I'm making like $100,000 a month off my lizard. It's insane. That's Grumpy Cat. Gone but never forgotten in memes globally. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, when do you want to spot a burglar? When they're outside, casing the joint. Most burglars say, look, you know what I do? I knock on the door, and if nobody's home, I know what to do from there. That's why Blink is so amazing. You can monitor what's going on outside your home, inside your home with the Blink smartphone app. It is incredible. It really is so easy to set up. Wire-free, a couple AA batteries last you a few years. It is just so simple. It sets up in minutes, and you're going to love it. You can monitor what's going on outside of your house when you're not at home, and you got the opportunity when somebody knocks on the door, and you can even not be there and say, what are you doing there? Who are you? What are you doing? I'm home. I'm going to call the police. Burglars will take off. Why? Because they're looking for the easiest thing. That's what Blink's going to stop. The easy thing from happening. Totally affordable. No subscriptions, no contracts. Blink smartphone app right there so you can monitor what's going on inside your house, plus what's going on outside, including package deliveries. Simple to and quick to install. Get your Blink right now. Visit blinkprotect.com/Benson. That's blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blinkprotect.com/Benson. Blink is an Amazon company. Chad Benson Shoe.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
The law would add sexual orientation and gender as protected classes under the 1964 Civil Rights Act in this country. It would prohibit discrimination against LGBT people in employment situations and public accommodations. 7 Republicans joined all Democrats in voting for the measure. Speaker Nancy Pelosi told me it is a great expansion of freedom in this country. It now heads to the Senate, where Republicans, many of them, oppose the measure, saying it would violate religious liberty of conservatives.
Yeah, and on top of that, a lot of women's groups are worried because they believe that it is essentially going to do away with a lot of things that they worked hard for and could eventually get rid of Title IX, which is it's this whole Equality Act that they're voting on. And here's, again, it's another one of those things where there's some right things there. I think people should be protected. LGBT community should be protected. I've got zero problems with any of those things. But then you start getting into some of the gender things, and that's where a lot of this goes to. And then also, when they talk about the religious side, simply put, let's say you have you're in a religion where women sit on one side, men sit on the other. Men have this, women don't have that as far as, what the worship times or whatever it is, right? I'm not just throwing any religion out there. That could be a violation of this. And then you're like, oh, it's not as simple as that. And it's going to be very interesting because, Title IX is something that Obama used a ton of times to go after. To take that away, to blur those lines, to do some of those things, you could potentially, you're going to get pushback. And there's a lot of women out there that are not thrilled by this because they're like, wait a minute, we worked hard. Now you're coming in with a lot of these gender things where, this was something for a woman, but you can now call yourself a woman. And now all of a sudden the lines are blurred and it's like, but you think you are. And it's just, oh my God, this is one of those things. I always say this with a lot of these progressive and these identity politic things. They're going to eat their own. They are. The battle is going to be so funny at times watching them fight over these things. We'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
We cherish the open door that we want to create for our country, but a big proportion of those immigrants must come in through merit and skill.
Oh my God, how dare you say that? That was Donald Trump yesterday delivering his wish list when it comes to immigration. Most of us agree, right or left, that we've got a problem with immigration, that the system isn't working the way it was designed, and the stuff that we did put in there, well, guess what? We put it in with good faith, but it's being used against us, and we need to fix it. Now, if you're on we have to make everything hair on fire. And when you talk about immigration, if you're not for open borders and or a super lax immigration system, right, you are a racist.
Use that information to promote himself in a campaign. And I think it is some of that is very racist. It is not keeping with what this country is supposed to be all about. It is not what our Statue of Liberty pretends.
What exactly, just so our viewers know, are you saying is racist there?
Well, this business about you must speak English. We're going to give you points for speaking English. And we don't want poor people. We only want those people who are earning substantial wages already.
Well, first of all, I'm going to just interrupt you, Maxine Waters. Yeah, we don't. Here's the thing about America at this point in time in our history. There was a time when we wanted to grow fast, right? Quick. We wanted to be on steroids. We're at the point now where we can be a little choosy. And no, I don't know if I want a bunch of poor people here that are going to land on our shores and we have to automatically start taking care of them. Who's for that? Just curious. Who is for that? Who thinks that's a good idea? Try to move somewhere else with not a dollar in your pocket. They're going to kick your ass home fast. You got to prove that you're coming here not to be a burden, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Speaking English is going to make your life 1,000 times better in a country where we speak English. But instead, we have this group of people that want to bend over backwards to make everything that people do from a different country the same as if they were still in their country. And I find it ridiculous. Yes, you know what? We're at the point where we can choose a little bit more, right? We're at that point where we're no longer that, hey, we'll take everybody. You know what? We'd like to take some people. And we're still taking 1 million plus people a year, not counting illegal immigration. We're handing out 1.1 million green cards. We can afford to be a little choosy. How about the best and the brightest? Is that so wrong? Why is it wrong that I want you to come here and embrace our culture? That's a bad thing, Chad. You're a xenophobe and a racist. Whatever. Why is it wrong that I expect when you come here, you're coming here because not only do you want to be a part of it, but you're also going to support yourself and not live off Uncle Sam? I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
All of those things are not keeping in step with the way that we treat human beings. And even the fact that, he used to talk about chain migration when you were able to help others in the family come. He's going to limit that. And I think that some of those policies are racist.
Yeah, of course you do, because it's an easy thing to say. And by the way, chain migration is ridiculous. It is. It is. Let me ask you guys this, right? Minus maybe, you know what? Okay, I'll let you bring mom and dad if you need to, especially if mom or dad are sick or a little bit older. But if you move from, say, Sacramento to, I don't know, let's say you move to you get a job in Toronto, and who are you going to bring? You can bring your wife, right, or your husband. And if you have kids, you bring your kids. Okay, you do that. You can bring your mom and dad, especially if they're okay. You bring your mom and dad? Probably not. You gonna bring you gonna bring your brother and sister? Probably not. You gonna bring your aunts and uncles? Probably not. You bring your cousins? Probably not. Right? Hell, if you move from San Diego to Sacramento, are you gonna do that? Probably not. But it's insane. And you bring up any of these things, you're a racist. Well, then call it what it is. You want to do that? That's fine. I'm a realist. You want to call me a racist? I don't think that we should say, hey, give us all your poor so we can take care of them. Because at some point in time, you go look at all the polls, most people want to fix, and that includes both sides of the aisle. They may differ on how they want to get there, but they kind of all want to go to the same place. We could look at DACA. And by the way, let me tell you something about DACA. I talked to a lot of DACA kids. They don't want DACA. You know what? They want the DREAM Act. They don't want DACA restored. They want the DREAM Act. They want that thing done and dusted. They want that thing put out there. They want real opportunity. Most people, hell, Trump offered them DACA. They didn't want it because it's a game. They don't want to give him a win. That's fine. That's politics, is what it is. But people, at some point in time, we need to start hiring people that have our best interest and put people over the party and doing the right thing. It's ridiculous to think that we can't have sovereign borders that really actually protect ourselves from an influx of God knows how many people that we don't know who they are, and they're coming here claiming asylum using our laws against us with no plan and automatically on the dole, as we would say in England. It's ridiculous. It really, really is. But here we are, kids. Here we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. There's a debate going on because of SAT scores, and this one kind of has nothing to do with that whole varsity blues thing. But, people will point at it.
The new category is called an adversity score. It will rate students from 0 to 100 based on how much privilege the College Board believes they have. The formula for all this is secret, of course. The people who came up with it know that it's pure pseudoscience. According to the Wall Street Journal, the test will calculate privilege based on 15 different factors. Some will draw on neighborhood statistics like the crime rate, poverty, home values. And then there are factors that look at a student's own family, factors like household income and whether both parents live at home.
Yeah, so we talked a bit about this yesterday, but they're really breaking it down, and the debate is starting to rage and partly because of what Tucker said right there, is this weird, we're not going to tell you what your score is scenario. So if you don't want to release that, I'm not quite sure. Wait, so there's going to be something that you're giving me extra scores? And the other thing is, are you taking scores away? So if I come from a semi-affluent home, right? So my perfect example is my son, right? Kids they're living a good life. And let's say he scores well on the SAT. Dad's alive, mom's alive, right? He's a cracker. He's, life is good for him. He lives in a nice neighborhood. He doesn't, all of these things are going to be added into it. Is he going to get points deducted because he had some other advantages that other people didn't have? I mean, that's also, how is this thing weighted?
This is a pure inversion of the intent of the SAT. From the first day, the whole point of the test of the SAT was that your background didn't matter. The SAT was devised to create as level a playing field as possible. Everybody took the same test. Grading was blind. It didn't matter where you came from.
Yeah, that was supposed to be, you take the test, right? You take the test. Here's the test. What's the test? It's the test right here, right? 2 + 2 over here is 4 for you. 2 + 2 over here is 4 for you. The fact that he's black or she's black, he's Asian, over there, she's white, whatever, it should be a test, right? And it didn't matter. I don't care how you got here, but you're here and you have the opportunity to take the test now. But now we're trying to put other things in because there are people out there who can afford to send their kids off to take special courses that, help you with the SAT scores and all of these kind of things. So they figure, well, let's start factoring in some of that. We'll start grading upon a curve.
Nobody thought the SAT was going to make everyone the same. That's impossible. People are not the same. Some people have natural advantages, including on standardized tests, and always will. You can't change that, unfortunately, any more than you could make everyone tall enough to play in the NBA. What you can do and what you must do is ensure fairness. Everyone deserves to have the same rights. Everyone should have the same standards and be held to them in the same way. That's the most basic promise of America.
No, it's not. And I'll remind everybody this, and I want to continue to do so. These are institutions that have administrators who look at your scores. And if your whole goal is trying to justify why you want to bring a kid in that got a 3.1, and you want to try to figure out how you can make it a 4.3 to justify it, it is your school, it is your club. You can let anybody in your club that you want to let in your club. It's that simple.
The College Board is explicitly rejecting this. On the new SAT, it isn't ability that matters. It's where you rank on the privilege hierarchy. And it's not hard to imagine the perverse effects of this. Under the new standards, if you worked hard and stayed married for the sake of your children, your kids will be punished for that.
That's a little bit much, but that's what I was just asking earlier. Is there somewhere where you would be penalized? Because my son maybe has some advantages that other kids have, but there are other kids out there who have more advantages than him. At what point in time do you say, okay, because of this, we're going to check this. Your mom and dad, you're not raised by a single parent, if you will. Your mom and dad are still around. They may not be married, but they're still around together, so you're not being just right. I mean, are they going to start checking things off? I think that's when you don't tell people how the scoring goes, that's not always good. It's not. And it is ridiculous. It is. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't figure out a way to help kids who do struggle. That's what we should be doing. Rather than going in and saying, well, we're going to start making up these pseudo weird science stuff to try to figure stuff out. Again, it's your school. You can kind of do what you want to do in your school. Am I correct? Right? You can kind of change the rules and say we're going to allow in 500 people that fall in this criteria here. We're going to figure out how to get them here. And also, we got to figure out how we take some of this crazy funding that we spend on useless things and figure out how we can help kids who are studying for this and don't have the socioeconomic opportunities as other people, so they do have somewhat more of a level playing field. But if they fail from there, it isn't because only mom was around. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from each and every one of you. Oh, God, it just drives me crazy. It really does drive me just nuts when I hear crap like this. By the way, you want to hear something funny? This is Trump yesterday talking about, de Blasio. Comrade de Blasio is running for president of the United States, and Trump has a message.
Can't believe it. I just heard that the worst mayor in the history of New York City, and without question, the worst mayor in the United States, now running for president. It will never happen. I'm pretty good at predicting things like that. I would be very surprised to see him in there for a long period. It's not going to happen. If you like high taxes and if you like crime, you can vote for him. But most people aren't into that. So be better off if you got back to New York City and did your job for the little time you have left. Good luck. Do well.
And everybody's like, oh, here's the thing. If you've watched any of the news cycles over the last couple of days, they've been hammering Bill de Blasio. He doesn't show up at work. He's late. He's 7 out of 10 people in New York just think he's an absolute buffoon and joke. Even CNN made fun of him. And the morning news, CBS Morning News. Here's CBS Morning News.
Bill de Blasio is the answer to what question that isn't being answered?
Unclear. And I love, God bless the New York Post this morning. New Yorkers laughing on the cover. This is probably better. America,
you've been warned.
Yes. I think the problem is he thinks if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah, no, they were making fun of him. There was protests yesterday saying you can't even govern the city. How in God's name are you going to govern a country? Just anybody, man, anybody. Anybody wants to get in. But remember, a lot of times people jump into big elections like this because very little to do with any opportunity of winning. It has all to do with raising your profile, which will raise your profile for things like great opportunities to be on CNN or Fox or MSNBC, better book deals, being able to go out and get bigger speaking gigs. So a lot of it is economics and raising profile and brand as much as it is the opportunity to win. I think he thinks I could be president. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Hey, I'm working with a great organization. They're called Wounded Paw. And they're amazing. They go in and they go to places that are kill shelters and they find dogs and they rescue them because they know, hey, there's too many animals out there that are dying and these animals have a lot to give. And they train them to go from shelter dog to service dog because they realize that we lose 20 veterans a day to suicide. So why not pair our furry friends up with our nation's heroes? And that's exactly what they're doing. It is incredible what they're doing for both our veterans, our first responders, and families of them as well. And they need donations. They need your car, your truck, your boat, whatever you have, your RV. It doesn't work. It works. They'll take it. They need it. And they'll just take your straight donation. Check out more information at woundedpaw.careasy.org or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. They're incredible. Take action today. Turn your extra car, truck, RV, and even boat into vehicle for change. You get a tax-deductible gift right off right there, and you're going to be saving a paw and saving a life, as they say. 844-678-4PAW or go to woundedpaw.careasy.org. That's woundedpaw.careasy.org. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
AAA Motor Club's Beth Moser says they're expecting the busiest Memorial Day travel period since 2005.
AAA is predicting about 43 million Americans are going to start their summer on a high note.
And about 37 million of those travelers are expected to hit the roads, up 3% from last year.
Gas prices really are about where they were this time last year and really are not having an effect on people's decisions to travel.
Nope, they're not. And you look, consumer confidence right now is rising, which says people feel good. You know, we feel good about the way things are going right now.
What is having an effect, though, is consumer spending is up. People feel secure in their job situation.
She says the price of airline tickets is about the same as Memorial Day 2018.
Where we're seeing real savings, though, is in rental car prices, also in hotel prices. So that's where people are saving some dollars this Memorial Day weekend.
Among the top destinations this upcoming holiday, Orlando, New York, and Las Vegas.
Yeah. Grandma's house. It's awesome. It's good, man. People got smiles on their faces. They're shopping. They're having a good time. Even though we're still in a situation where we don't have a ton of money in savings. And I always laugh at that. These things come out, most Americans don't have a lot of money left in savings. But then you go back to that whole thing is, how much money a month do people waste? Because we can always bring out, well, so-and-so has barely enough to live off of. And, okay, yeah, those out there. But how many people out there who say, God, I'm struggling financially, and yet you're buying food again, like at a restaurant or another something? And if you add that up over time, what's that up to? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Another phenomenal week. Thank you so very much. Follow along with us across all social media. Here's your useless fact of the day. The origins of handshake go back quite a ways. Like, really a long time. And the reason for that was it was a symbol of peace. Because when you shook somebody's hand, you could shake it hard enough that if they had any weapons in their sleeves, they would fall out. Very interesting. You know something today. Have a great weekend. Back again on Monday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.